So, a friend of mine reached out to me this morning, and um, he asked me like a really cool question about cool shit. I like talking about cool shit. So, he and I were discussing this for a little bit this morning, and I felt that like texting, that's kind of how I'm stuck doing stuff, is texting. It doesn't fully do justice to the thought process that I have over the topic that we were talking about. And what we were talking about was, what he had asked me about was the philosophy of a man named Aleister Crowley, um, which states, to do as thou wilt. People who know Aleister Crowley, they typically know him as a Satanist, as a devil worshiper, as real fucking freak. I like the dude. I looked into a lot of his work. He was my kind of guy. He was a mystic, and he was alive. He was born in like the late 1800s, I think like 1884 or something like that. And he was very much into the occult and spirituality and mysticism, esoteric stuff, big time. Astrologer, tarot card reader, magician. He was hooked up with a lot of esoteric groups that aren't that hugely popular today. Some people know about them, like the Golden Dawn, the Rosicrucians. Some people say he was a Freemason too, but I don't think that's true. I don't think so. I don't know, and I don't know that much about the guy. But what all those groups they all teach like the same thing. I mean, not all of them are as well known as the Freemasons. Like everyone's got like a thought on the Freemasons. Most of them are wrong to an extent. A lot of people are wrong about them. They don't really understand what they teach. But I spent the last fucking year like really digging into all the shit that these groups teach to their members, and a lot of it's really interesting stuff, and it all stems around, like I said, esoteric stuff, astrology, cards, Kabbalah, Hebrew, magic, a lot of symbology, a lot of really cool shit if you're into that type of thing. But this guy Alistair, what he did was he learned as much as he could from these groups, because they don't like, they're secretive. They don't like to just go on TV and write textbooks. Well, they do write textbooks. That's not a thing. But they don't really teach this shit in school, which is weird, because it's actually, when you understand it and when you can grasp a lot of the concepts that these people taught, which a lot of it's fucking abstract as fuck. It's hard to understand when you just jump right into it. You have to be able to think a little bit different. You got to be able to think outside the box and accept that, you know what, maybe everything I know isn't exactly the way that things are. You need to really grasp the concept that that's just your perspective. That there's lots of different perspectives out there, and just because it's not the same as yours doesn't mean that it's wrong. Doesn't mean that it's not real. But that's not to say that yours isn't either. So you don't have to take anything I'm saying right now as gospel. I don't give a fuck. This I'm mostly doing for him because I know he's going to appreciate what I'm saying, and I'm sure there's a few other people that I know that are into this shit too. So what Crowley did was he learned as much as he could from these groups, and eventually realized that they were hoarding all this stuff. That this was shit that was beneficial to people if they really embraced it and understood what this stuff meant. And a lot of these groups, what they did was they treat it like it's theirs, like they own it, that they that most people aren't capable of understanding it, which most aren't. You need to have like I said, you need to have a whole different mind frame, and you be willing to change aspects of your life if need be, because a lot of these things they go against what society teaches. That makes sense. A lot of the things that you're comfortable doing, a lot of the things that you are familiar with, these ideas, they take those ideas that you are comfortable with, and they crumble them up and toss them out the fucking window. So it's not easy for people to just let go and hop into a different mind frame so easily. But all the concepts, in one way, shape, or form, everybody is familiar with, whether they know it or not, whether they want to admit it or not. But that's a whole another story. But anyway, back to Alistair and what he did. So he learned all this stuff, and he didn't like what these groups were doing. And a lot of my analysis of him, by the way, is just what I perceive his motives were at the time of doing the things that he did. Because I don't really like to subscribe to mainstream knowledge, because most people don't know half the shit they think that they know. And most of the stuff that they think they know, they don't even know it, because when you ask them to explain it, they can't. Or they say that someone told them. I'm not really into that shit. I'm not really into just accepting what people tell me. I like to think for myself. I like to take as much knowledge as I can and then formulate my own ideas off of that. I don't know. People think it's fucking weird, but that's not my fucking problem. So what I understand about him and what he did was he took all this knowledge and he fucking said, fuck it. I'm fucking writing books and telling everybody. And that's kind of what he did. He was popularly known as the Beast 666. He liked to call himself that. There's different ideas and concepts as to where he decided to, where and when he decided to call himself that. But from my understanding of theology and these esoteric traditions was that there was a reason why he called himself that, and it was a good reason. It was a very good reason, and philosophically, there's a good reason. And it wasn't because he was worshiping the devil, because in the esoteric philosophies there's no devil in the way that most people conceive as that entity that we like to call Satan or the devil or Lucifer or whatever the fuck people like to call him. That it doesn't necessarily exist in the way that most people think. So, and I know this because I've studied the same shit that he studied. I feel confident enough that I could say that, because I've seen the extent to which most people understand these things, and it's not to blow smoke up my own ass, but it's not even close to what I understand of it, and I did the actual work. So it's very difficult for me to accept most people's simple explanation that it's all bullshit when I've seen it in action. I've tested these things, and you can test it. It's all measurable. It's all repeatable. These are all things that if you take the time and effort and put the effort into it to learn about these subjects, and to not just do them, but to know them, to know how they work, to know how these thoughts are coming together, where these people came up with these ideas, and why they came up with these ideas that they had. It's all incredibly fascinating stuff. But I'm digressing again, because that's what I do constantly. So Crowley's thing was to get this knowledge out to as many people as possible, so that as many people as possible could use it for themselves to understand that they are, as individuals, more than what they're told, more than what they think they are, more than just simple little monkeys that go to work and pay their bills every day. So when he left these groups and he kind of went rogue, he kind of went on his own little journey of self-discovery and had formed a group of his own, well, a philosophy. It's not a group, it's a philosophy called Thelema. And what the main tenet of Thelema was, Thelema, I don't know what the fuck, how the fuck to pronounce it, doesn't matter, was, first rule of Thelema is, do as thou wilt. The second rule of Thelema is, well, let me rephrase that. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Second rule of Thelema is that love is the law. Love under will. So most people who know the phrase, do as thou will, they don't know the second line. So they attribute it to him being a Satanist. He's known for doing like sex magic and a lot of weird shit, demon summoning, seances, shit like that. Real fucking interesting stuff. Which, if you understand how it works, it takes on a whole different meaning, because a lot of what people perceive as these rituals aren't what they think that they are. Even the people in some of these groups, like, I like to follow them on Facebook. I find them interesting to see how people just conform to something they think someone was saying. It's very interesting. But when you actually put the time into these things and understand what they are, they're not that controversial. They're not that controversial, and they're not that weird. And they actually make a lot of sense in the way that these things work. For instance, summoning demons is not really bringing a demon into your house. I mean, it is, so to speak. Depends on how your perspective of consciousness is. If you're familiar with people going, oh, you got to raise your vibrations, you need to your emotions are your vibrations. Yeah, it kind of plays into that, but it gets a little more complex in that consciousness is also a vibration. Think of it like a thermometer. I think I said that last night. A thermometer where consciousness goes up and down. And all that means is just your mind opening up. Your mind being able to accept different, more complex concepts and ideas that if I were to throw them at you, for instance, like I am right now, they just make absolutely no fucking sense. Think of it like trying to explain astrology to someone who doesn't believe in astrology. That's it. That's it. You're at a higher conscious level than the other person, because you're able to accept something that they can't. In a way, if that makes sense. Closed-minded. Think of closed-minded people as those lower vibrational conscious people. And people with more of an open mind would have, say, a higher consciousness. That's not to say there's anything wrong with either or. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you're allowed to believe whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't mean anything to me, or it shouldn't mean anything to anybody else. Which unfortunately it does. But I hope that that kind of is a good, quick explanation of what I mean. So, what that means, do as thou wilt. What it means to me is basically that. Do whatever the fuck it is that makes you feel good. And that's why people don't like Crowley, because they felt that he embodied that with the weird, bad, evil shit that he was doing. And some of it, I'm not saying was nice. I don't know. Some of the shit I heard was pretty fucking gnarly. But the point is, and what my friend Tim had asked, was kind of how that plays into, say, karma. So if you're doing, and you don't have to look at it as karma. I mean, doing the right thing versus doing the wrong thing, and that concept of good stuff happening to you if you do good stuff, and bad stuff happening to you if you do bad stuff. And what I tried to explain to him was this, and this is all just based off my understanding of how things work. Again, I've spent a lot of fucking time doing this, so I don't need to argue with anybody about it. I don't need to really justify why I think the way that I do. I just do because I've done enough homework on this that I'm very confident in what I'm saying. That I know that what I'm saying is the way that I understand things and how I think things are. It doesn't have to mean that you have to think that way. Absolutely not. Because it doesn't mean shit to me. But, digressing, again, I do that, I stray. So to understand what I was saying to him, that doing what you want, yes, is exactly what that philosophy means. Live however the fuck you want. And I'm a perfect example of that. I don't work because I don't want to. I can't go to a job and be able to focus myself on being somebody that I'm not. I can't do that. It's just, I used to, but when I do it now, I can't even do it now because I literally I won't let myself do it. It's like, think of it like putting your hand over the stove to see if it's actually as hot as people say it is. And every time people keep on doing it, they love putting their hand over the stove. It's like their favorite fucking thing. But you, for some reason, decided, I don't like this. I don't like the way this feels. So you can't even bring yourself to put your hand over that fire again because you don't like the way it felt. Make sense? I think so. I'm getting good at my analogies. And you can think of it the same way as this concept of do as thou wilt. Live how you want. Do what you want. Be whoever it is that you want to be, when you want to be it, if you feel like being it. Hang out with whoever you want. Don't just be somebody for somebody else. Be who you want and then find the people that are like you, because I can guarantee you, and what I've learned over these past several months of living the lifestyle that I live, is that there's a lot more people like you than you fucking think. You have no idea the spectrum of people that are right outside your fucking door. Now, granted, a lot of them aren't going to be able to go as far as you can, but enjoy them while you got them. Because there's always going to be somebody else to replace somebody else. Always, 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 always. That's a very sobering concept as well for people. I was mentioning this last night, is that a lot of this is about learning how to let go. Not only people, but things and ideas and notions about reality and life and whatever the fuck you want to throw in there too. You have to be able to honestly know that thing that you have, that be it a person, job, whatever, is replaceable, and it will be replaced at some point. It will go away. It's not always going to be there. No matter how much you try to hold on to it, that bitch is gone. There's nothing you can do about it until it decides to come back. You can play games with it. You can try to coerce and massage a situation in your favor. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know if it hinders the process or not. I'm kind of in the middle of trying a couple of experiments to see if that's the case, but again, I'm getting into something way out there. So to fully explain this, you have to understand my concepts of right and wrong, good and bad. I don't believe in those things, right or wrong. I don't think so. I think it's perspective. Good for me is not good for you. What's right for you is not wrong. What's right for you is wrong for me. What's good for me is bad for you. You know, it's not a black and white issue, not a black and white concept. There's like a thermometer. There's a whole spectrum of degrees in between hot and cold. And realistically, there's no point on a thermometer that says this is where hot ends, this is where cold begins. It's not. There's no solid line there. 99 degrees Fahrenheit is hotter than 98 degrees Fahrenheit. But 99 degrees Fahrenheit is also colder than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So think on that. Understand that every truth is a half lie and every lie is a half truth. What's true for you isn't true for me. What's true for me isn't true for you. A friend of mine said. But it's also, you have to understand that just because it's not true for you doesn't mean it's not real. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist for somebody else. Doesn't mean it won't exist for you if you go looking for it. A friend of mine said once, I don't believe what you believe, but I believe that you believe it. If you can take that in for a moment. So, with that in mind, what's good karma, what's bad karma? Good karma for me is bad karma for you, and vice versa. I also believe that life is about experience and learning. It's about what we like to call success and failure, learning from those successes and learning from those failures so that you can better succeed in the future. And the same thing, and that's kind of, look at it like a job. You got a job that you weren't good at, and you ended up getting fired, but you want to stay in the field, so you get another job in that field. But now you take the experience and knowledge that you do learn from the first job and take it to the second one, and now you are more experienced and you don't get fired for not knowing what you're doing. Time goes on, you learn more, you understand more, you integrate more into your work life, and either you get a promotion or you find a better job. It's just like that. But in a more abstract way. It actually is that. That is karma. It's going into something, not knowing what to do, more than likely failing, learning the lesson, how you failed, why you failed, and then going back into a similar situation, or possibly a repeat of the old situation, and doing better. Look at that, like a relationship. I had a failed marriage, but the lessons I learned from that, I can take into a new relationship and not make the same mistakes that I made last time. Very simple. And that's karma. My karma was I had to fail at a marriage to learn how to make a marriage. You know? Does that make sense? I failed at a job to learn how to do the job. I failed at whatever you want to fail at. Whatever you fail at all the time. To do better at it. See, that's the thing, is most people, they don't realize that there's a lesson to be learned, and they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like Einstein's definition of insanity, to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. See, the concept to me of do as thou will is not following that frame of mind. To do better, so that you succeed or get different results at the very least. Because not every venture is going to be a success. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I've even seen a success yet. There's just multiple opportunities, a never-ending cycle of opportunities to do better the next time. You know, does that make sense? I think that makes sense. And that doesn't mean that you can't do bad things. It just depends on what you think a bad thing is. You don't think something's actually bad, and that's what's wrong with people, and that's what's wrong with a lot of religions today, is that they, and even in society as a whole, Jesus Christ, they impact it in your head what is right and what's wrong, what you have to do and what you shouldn't do, and we all prescribe to those things. We do our best to prescribe to those things, but if you notice how you hate a lot of stuff, that you are not happy with a lot of the ways that your life is going. And you don't understand why things are better for everybody else. So you look around and you're like, what do they got that I don't got? What's wrong with me? But here's the fucked up thing. The reason why you just related to that is because everybody thinks like that. They just don't like to talk about it because it's embarrassing. People don't want to get embarrassed because they're afraid to be vulnerable about it around other people. And listen, I could be wrong. I I would love for someone to prove me wrong. That's why I think I'm right all the time, because every time I say the shit that comes out of my mouth, people just, they prove it for me. I don't have to do anything. See the thing about me is that I have ideas and I have concepts. I don't know if they're right. I don't know anything of what I'm doing is right. It could be all, I could be in like one of the most dire situations. And a lot of people that I know think I am. They don't understand what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. So from their perspectives, yeah, I'm fucked up. I'm real fucked up. Like I fucking put my fist through my laptop yesterday because my ex-wife sent me a friend request on Facebook, and I didn't know how to fucking handle it. I had lost my shit. Like, and it wasn't even in a bad way. It was just because I didn't know how to panic attack, like a panic attack. I didn't know what to do, and I lashed out, you know, because it was a scary situation for me. It's a very long story. We haven't gotten along in a very long time. So seeing that pop up so out of the blue, it took me off guard, and I've been going through like a really strange week with all the things that I've been doing. So this was just icing on the cake, because what was really fucked up is the night before, well actually for the past few days, I've actually been waiting for that to happen, and it didn't happen exactly the way that I thought it would, or it didn't go the way that I thought it would. But the fact that it fucking happened freaked me the fuck out, because that was the first time that something really tangible that I could prove that I had thought about had happened. And it is something I've been writing about for 7 months. So you got to keep in mind, like, that, something like that. So when I say I punched the fucking the screen, it wasn't because like, oh, this fucking bitch. No, I don't even think like that. I don't think like that, because I don't hold anything against her or anyone else I know or knew or what have you, because I've learned to look into myself and see the characteristics that I used to dislike about everybody else, and realize the reason I didn't like those things was because that's how I acted. I didn't like the way I acted because I was told that's how you're supposed to be, and so that's how I acted. And when I really started to see it in myself, when I gained the courage, and it's because it's not easy. It took me a long time of reflection and meditation and really learning to say, fuck, I think I fucked up, to be able to forgive myself for doing that shit. I did some fucked up stuff. I did some fucked up stuff to people, but you know what? I don't regret it anymore. And that is a big thing, is regret. Because when you regret something, that's like, you're afraid because you're embarrassed. You don't want to put yourself in that situation again. You don't want to put somebody else in that situation again. And you don't like the fact that you even did it, but now you've been doing it for so long, like you don't even know if you can stop. Like, it's difficult. It's like, it's almost like, it's like I had to reprogram myself to stop being the person that I was by allowing myself to do the things that I didn't like doing, so I can figure out why I was doing them. Had to almost reverse engineer myself. And what I found was that a lot of the behavior that I was putting out to people was just based on old suppressed fears from throughout my life. I have a concept that usually when I explain it to people, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I try to explain this to people when I try to show them how to let go and how to be a little bit more forgiving to the people that we think victimized us. Because I don't believe in victims. No one's a victim. Not me, not you, no one. No one. No matter what. I don't care if you say you got raped. I don't care if your dad put a gun in your mouth when you were a kid. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because you're not a victim. No one did anything wrong to you. What they did was they taught you a lesson. They were trying to teach you a lesson. Whether you grasp the lesson or not is dependent on if you still hold a grudge against them. Because if you hold a grudge against somebody, you didn't forgive them, which means you didn't forgive yourself. Because it's my belief. No, it's not even my belief. It's my philosophy that if you blame somebody for something, what you're doing is you're putting the blame that you have for yourself and putting it on someone else because you don't want to admit that you could be wrong. Those are my 4 magic words. I could be wrong. Be wrong. Repeat them. Repeat them. Go in the fucking mirror. I dare you. I fucking double dog dare you. Go to the mirror. Go to the mirror right over there. Think about the person that you're holding a grudge against. Go for it. Could be me. Could be anybody. Now, when you're looking in the mirror, you know what I know you're thinking. You're thinking about what you did wrong, why they did that to you, how they victimized you, how you let them do that. Well, you're right about that. You did let them do that. You let them do it all the time. Every single time it happened. Just like I did. You let it happen because you were too afraid to stand up. Why? I don't know. That's not true. I do know. I liked being victimized. I liked it. It made me feel like a victim. It gave me something to complain about. It gave me something to get attention from people. I'm a Leo. I love attention. But everybody's got that shit in them. Everybody likes attention. To a degree. That's why they complain all the time. That's why they complain, to get your attention to what they're saying. Because they want to tell you. Because they need someone to listen to them. I used to get told all the time I wasn't a psychic because whatever. I wasn't a psychic and the cards were fake. My ex actually told me that she stopped believing in cards, in tarot, and astrology because I was doing it. But I don't blame her for that. Because you know what? I used to do the same thing to her. I used to call it bullshit all the time when she used to try to tell me about this stuff. But the thing was, I thought it was bullshit. But I thought it was bullshit because I really didn't want to change the way I thought. It meant I was going to have to change my thinking. I didn't want to change my thinking, so I always called it bullshit. That's what everybody does. That's what you do. That's what, if you just said that, if you're listening to me and saying that this is bullshit, that's why. Because you don't want to be, you're not willing to change your beliefs. No. You're not willing to accept that your beliefs might not be right. Because if you do, then you have to, then that proves that you're wrong. And God forbid you're wrong. Because you're always right. That's why most people aren't nice to you all the time. Because you always think you're right. And you're always trying to push your point of view on them. And they don't like it. I do it too. So I'm not fucking, well, I am judging. I'm judging because, see, now that's the difference between me and you. I had to argue with my mother the other day. She's like, why do you think you get the right to judge people and attack them? And I can tell you exactly fucking why. And it's the same reason I gave her. Is that the reason I judge people and the reason I feel like I have the right to do it is because I do it to myself. I don't tell anybody anything that I have not seen as fact for myself. Now, that doesn't mean I go around walking around this fucking streets pointing people, oh, you piece of shit. No, absolutely not. I don't give a fuck how you live. Your life is not my fucking problem. You can live, be as happy or be as miserable as you want. And I understand, you're not miserable. I get it. You don't have any problems. I know. Everybody tells me that. But the reason I say they're problems, the reason I call them problems, is because when I was like you, when I was doing the same thing that you were, I recognize them now as a problem. I didn't recognize them as a problem back then. I said the same thing. I don't have any problem. Except for when I drank. That was the only time I was able to think clearly enough to go, yeah, I got some fucking problems. I need to fucking fix them. Seriously. I seriously need to fix them. But the problem was I was only drinking to clear the fog and static out of my head so I can think. I just like drinking a lot, so I always took it a little too far. Which is why a lot of us have the beer balls, you know? You put that with anything, any drug that you want that gives you the courage to say the shit that you want to say. It's because the reason you're getting the courage is because the static's going away. It's clearing you up. But You take it too far sometimes. I know. We all do. I still do. But now I do it for a different reason. It helps me. My mind is, I don't have static anymore. I got rid of all the static. It wasn't fucking easy. It took me 7 months to get rid of the static. What do I mean by static? You know exactly what I mean. What's your favorite thing to do? What's your hobby? Having a hard time with that one, aren't you? What is your passion? You like to draw, you like to write, you like to make fucking videos that you hate making, but you get the attention so you love making them? What is it? You might not have one. You might not have one. I think I know that answer. I don't have any problems, and I don't have hobbies. I'm a couch potato. I've heard that one before. Most people are. My mother and her husband are. They're couch potatoes. They go out. I mean, they're not antisocial people where they just lock themselves in the house, but a good portion of their time when they're here is sitting around looking on Facebook, looking to see what other people are saying, complaining about other people, complaining about jobs, their life, like everyone else. I used to do the same. Excuse me. I used to do the same thing. I used to do the exact same thing. Just like I see everybody else doing. It's all the same thing. Everyone thinks that they're different from each other. Everyone thinks that someone else has it better, or that this person's an asshole and doesn't deserve it, or whatever you say about your friend. Are they really your friend? You know, the one you just thought about. The one that you're phoning around. It could be friends, plural. That those people that you hang out with, you don't even want to be around, and when you're around them, you have to be somebody that you're not, and you fucking hate it, and you know everyone else is doing the same thing, because you fucking hate them too, especially that one bitch, the one bitch that is just fucking annoying, and she's always fucking with you, constantly. Could be a dude too. But the reason people are like that, the reason people are constantly victimizing you, is because they think they're victims too. They think you're victimizing them. You don't realize it, because you're a fucking nice person. You're just fucking trying to help out. You're just, what? What the fuck's the problem? You didn't do nothing to them. You didn't do nothing to deserve that. Turns out you did. What? What did you do? I don't know. Whatever the fuck you did. Whatever it was that you did. You decided to give some advice, tell somebody that they're wrong, tell somebody that you know more than them, tell somebody that you're smarter than them, tell somebody that they're not as talented as you. That. You should know. You've been through it all. Remember? Even though you haven't been through shit. You think you have, but you haven't. Or maybe you have. But you haven't even learned the lesson. You don't even know how to fix those things that you've been through. You know? You know that thing that keeps on happening? You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get specific, because only you know what it is. Well, I do too. No, I'm not psychic. The reason I know what people are thinking is because I used to think the same way that you do. And you can call me an asshole for thinking that way, but I don't give a fuck. Because though you may claim you're not miserable, your behaviors, because I'm talking to everybody, is that, because I know that you are not the only person that's going to see this. Eventually, more people are going to see it. Because people don't talk like me. See, that's my dream. That's my passion, is to be more than you. But there's nothing wrong with being you. I just choose not to be that. I want to be more. That's just it. You don't have to. I don't look down on you for not wanting to do the same things I do. I love it. I love that you don't want to do what I do. Because the fact that nobody wants to do what I do, that means that I'm the only one doing it. And you may try to compare me to someone else or think that I'm trying to do something that I'm not. But no, I just like talking to people. I like knowing what makes you tick. Because the more I know how you tick, the more right I am. The more you talk to me, the more I learn about you, the more I understand of how you work. And that's fine. And to see, the reason for that isn't because of some fucking weird manipulation or because I want to control you. I live that life. I live that life of controlling people, just like you. Just like you and the people that you control. Could be your husband, could be your boyfriend, could be your girlfriend, could be your wife, could be your kids, could be your kids, could be your parents, could be co-workers, it could be fucking anybody, it could be your dog. You control because it feels good. It feels good to be in control because at least then you have a semblance of where your life is going, and your life is just going over the same thing over and over again. You might go on that vacation in a few months, maybe. Might get that break from work. You might go see your mistress or your madam or your beau, whatever the fuck the male version of that is. But those are your releases. That's what you want. So why not try to live a life where that is your life? Why not try to embrace that aspect of yourself? Why? Because things are comfortable. It's comfortable because you have the stuff. You have stuff. The stuff that you want is all around you, so it's comfortable. So I have another philosophy on stuff. It's how much stuff you have is equivalent to how much happy you have, and for all the stuff that you get, your happy goes down, and vice versa. The more happy you are, the less stuff you have. So you have to ask yourself a very simple question: what is the stuff to happy ratio that you want for yourself? You want to be happier, or you want to have more stuff? Because the more stuff you have, the less happy you are, because your stuff ends up owning you. That's so aptly put by Tyler Durden. Well, I think he said, stuff you own ends up owning you. But you know what I mean. I mean, how much debt are you in? How many credit cards you got? How are your bills going? You like bills? Do bills make you happy? No, they don't make you happy, so why pay them? Oh, because what? Because you have to. Why do you have to? Well, you have to so that you can have the stuff. Well, do you need the stuff? Do you need the stuff or you want the stuff? If you just want the stuff, you don't need to pay the bills. If you don't need the stuff, then you don't need the bill. Let me reword that. If you just want the stuff, you don't need the bill. Because you don't need the stuff. That's like needing something, but not wanting to pay the bill. Needing something and needing to pay the bill. I don't think that fucking made any sense. I smoked a little bit of pot. I'm gonna reverse, because I'm not fucking rewinding this whole thing. I don't give a fuck if I sound like an idiot. See, I don't care. That's why I don't edit. That's why I don't practice what I'm saying. Because it doesn't matter to me if I say the wrong thing, because I'm okay with saying the wrong thing, because I will backtrack myself and correct it. Okay? It's whatever. I can laugh at myself. See, that's the difference between me and other people, is I can laugh at myself and honestly mean it, because I'm not even laughing at myself. It's a mistake. But you know what? The mistake teaches you how to do it better next time. So let's try that again. The stuff you own ends up owning you. If you want to be happy, you have to have less stuff. The more stuff you have, the less happy you're going to be, because you're going to be constantly paying off the stuff. And stuff doesn't just mean physical stuff. It could be people stuff. That's why you complain that you have to spend all this money on your wife or your boyfriend or your kids. It's stuff. They're stuff. They're just things. They are, and they're replaceable things. Everyone is replaceable. Every person that leaves your life, another one is going to come in to take their place. It's just the way things work. That's why when one friend leaves, another one pops up. A boyfriend leaves, another one pops up. Same thing goes for your kids. You don't have to be afraid about talking about shit like that. Okay? It's cliche. I get it. It's taboo. People frown upon it. But it's life. People come, people go. People die, people live. People want to be around you, people don't want to be around you. You can't blame them for not wanting to be around you because you don't want to be around them either. Sometimes you do and they don't want to. But on the same token, sometimes they want to and you don't. So what do you do then? See, it's you can't blame anybody for anything. You can't hold grudges for people because it's stupid. My son doesn't want to talk to me. We haven't talked in months, and it's my own fault. I brought that on myself. It's a whole big, long story. But he doesn't want to talk to me right now, which is fine. He doesn't have to. Though I want to. I would like to talk to him. But he doesn't want to. But there was a time when he wanted to talk to me, and I didn't want to talk to him. You dig? So it's not like I can hold a grudge against him for doing something. Why? Because I want it right now? Just because I want it right now doesn't mean I get it right now. I will get it when I need it. Just like I said. And now we're coming full circle. Because this stuff that you want, you might not be ready for it yet. You're going out to rush to get these things, to get this boyfriend, get this girlfriend, get this wife, to get this job, to get this thing, get this book, get these pants, to get pregnant, to get married. You're rushing into it. You want it so bad, but you don't even realize that you don't need it right now because you're not ready for it. You haven't learned the lessons of life. You haven't learned from your own mistakes from your past to even think about starting something new. You dig? You understand that? That's like never learning to crawl and just trying to run. Where are you going to go? You're just going to fall on your ass every time. You can barely even stand. And that kind of goes back to something I was saying before. Well, I was trying to say before about when I show people how to not hold grudges. And it's very simple. It's very simple. I mean, it's a simple concept. It's hard to hold it down sometimes. I always need reminding of it. I used to have to put this shit on my phone. I used to put reminders on my phone to go off every couple hours just so I couldn't forget stuff. Because just with the stress of everyday life between my marriage, my home, my bills, my kid, my family, like all this shit would just weigh on me. There's just all this crap. Because I was just blaming everybody for all the situations that I found myself in. But one day I decided to look at it a little bit differently. I looked at it like this. And this, I actually learned all of this from studying all this esoteric stuff. So some people think like I do all this weird witch magic and weird shit with the cards and seances and all that fucking bullshit. Now, I like that stuff. It's fun. It's cool. It's different. But what it really taught me was how to think differently about myself. And when I learned to think differently about myself, I learned how to think differently about the world around me. Wise man once said, you cannot clean the world until you clean your own house. This house. You start here, and then slowly work your way outwards. It doesn't always work out the way that you want. There's always going to be hiccups and weird shit that happens. Like, when I started this thing, my fucking marriage fell apart. Me and my wife split up, and I left my house, and I lived on my grandmother's couch for a month. I've been living in my mom's spare room for a couple of months. I have a house. I have a house and a car, and I have all the things. I have things. I just choose not to fuck with those things right now, because right now I'm my focus. I am my number one focus, because I realize that nobody can make anyone happy until they are happy. Now, I was miserable for a very long time, and it wasn't because of the people who I was blaming. It was because of myself, because I wasn't doing the things that I wanted to do. And you could say that's selfish, but we're all selfish. We all want the things that we want. That's why you're pissed off, because you're not getting what you want right now, because you're selfish. That's why you have to kill yourself working and with all the bills and fucking stress so that you can get the stuff that you want. But you can only get the stuff you want once in a while, because you got so caught up in this system of fucking killing yourself that killing yourself has become more important than the stuff that you were thinking about. That you're actually putting your life on the line to get this fucking thing. And what happens when you get it? You get it for a little bit, you get a little bit of interest in it, and then you put it in the corner and forget about it, because you got to go back. Because if you don't go back, you're not going to have any more money, and you can't get more stuff, because you need more stuff, because there's something new that you need right now, but you still never fucked around with the thing that you got in the first place. Sound familiar? Might be going a little bit fast. So So how do we learn the lessons? How do we fucking learn to calm down and learn a little bit of patience? Patience is a fucking tough one, man. I can tell you that right now. I used to have zero patience. Now I got some patience. I say I got a lot of fucking patience compared to everyone else I interact with. I got the fucking patience of a fucking god. I could sit and do nothing for days, and I'll be content. I'll find a way. I'll find a way up here. If you saw the video of me staring in the fucking camera for 15 minutes not saying a word, you think you can do that? Did you stare in my eyes for 15 minutes straight? I dare you. Because there's a test. I want to see if you can think the things I'm thinking. But I don't think anyone actually has it in them to be able to sit through that, because people just don't have the attention span because we're so fucking impatient. We're impatient because we need what we want right now, because I don't know when things are going to end. Because everything's always so bad. Something horrible is going to happen. I have to get it now, so that when the horrible thing happens, then I already had my thing. I already played with it. But start looking at things a little bit differently. Start looking back at those experiences that you had that put you in the place that you're in. The people, that guy or gal that you were just thinking about when you were looking in the mirror. That guy or gal that victimized you. Or all of them. I don't know how many you thought of. It's probably a bunch. But think like this. The reason you were just standing in front of that mirror, the reason that you're listening to this video, the reason that everything I'm saying is making sense to you is because every experience that you have had since you were born, negative, positive, whatever, made you into the person that you need to be right this second to understand exactly what I'm saying. If anything in your life happened any differently than what it did, you might not understand a word that I'm saying. This could be glossing right over your fucking head. Or maybe you would be the one teaching me. Maybe you'd be the one talking to me. And don't let me say I'm teaching you, because I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that I'm sharing a concept that you might find some gems in here. And believe me, you don't have to take a fucking word I'm saying. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, as the saying goes. Though 90% of what I'm saying may be bullshit to you, there's also 10% that could actually be useful. You know? Not everything is good or bad. Not everything is black and white and bullshit and not bullshit. The opposite of bullshit. So think on those things. Think back to every event that happened in your life. I always say to start small. I always start with the small shit first, because you ain't ready for that deep shit. There's a lot of layers to you that you gotta break through before you're even ready to look at that time that thing happened. That thing. The really bad thing. The really bad thing that sparked all of this. It could be a couple bad things, but typically all bad things lead down to one really, 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 really bad one. But what's bad? Bad's just perspective. Bad's a perspective that is based on your life experiences. Again, good for you, it's not good for me. It's bad for you, it's not bad for me. Not always. Sometimes, but not always. That's why we disagree with each other. Because not everything that I say is going to jive with you. Just like not everything you say is going to jive with me. But there is going to be some stuff. Hence, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So when you look at these things that happen in your life, and you realize you're not a victim, because you never were. Sorry. No victim. When you look back on these things, think of it like this. What were you supposed to learn from that? And it's not, don't talk to people who look a certain way, and don't associate with someone who acts a certain way. No. You can associate with anyone you want. If you want to associate with them, associate with them. You just have to understand how to do it properly. And the problem is you're not doing it right. You're doing it wrong. That's why you're getting the results that you're getting. That's why it seems like they're bad when in reality they think that they're doing the right thing for you. Or maybe they're doing the right thing for somebody else. Like, in their minds, which think differently from yours, because we understand that everybody thinks differently. There's 8 billion different people on this planet. Perception is the reality of those who are perceiving it. 8 billion people is 8 billion perspectives with 8 billion realities. Your reality is not the same as mine. Mine is not the same as the people I live with. Yours are not the same as the people that you work with or you sleep with. Reality is unique to the individual who is experiencing it. Though something is true for you does not mean that it is true for somebody else. Everything I'm saying could be bullshit to you. Not all of it. I don't believe that, not all of it. Because there is no black and white. There's a multitude of varying degrees of shades of gray that come in up and down and all over this fucking thermometer thing that I keep bringing up. So start looking at those past negative events of yours. Start looking at them as trials, challenges that the universe or whatever the fuck you want to believe in, because you believe in something. Nobody really doesn't believe in anything. They just say that to be cool so they can argue with somebody because they don't want to be proven wrong. Whatever it is you want to believe in, imagine that thing is challenging you to be a better version of yourself. Challenging you to do the things that you're afraid of doing. And the things you're afraid of doing are the things that are causing shit to happen in your life. That these lessons, you weren't supposed to be punished for them. The only reason you got punished was because you didn't learn the lesson. And it's not always easy. It takes a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of failure to get what was being presented to you, which was not per se a physical thing as much as a new concept, a new way of thinking, a new set of ideals that could help push you along to getting to where you want to be. And though when I say, hey, what's your passion, what's your dreams, what's your hobbies, you may not have an answer consciously. There is something subconsciously implanted in you that you want to do. You know what it is. It's going to pop up. Maybe it just did. But there's that one thing. You just fucking love it so much. It's like, if you had all the money in the world, this is what you would do. It's that thing you would promise. I wouldn't fuck around with money ever again. I wouldn't treat it like it's a god. I would treat it like the tool that it is. To do this thing forever. To get better at it and to embody this thing that I want. To own it. To fucking be it. That's a hobby. That's your passion. That's your calling, we'll say. It might not be whatever it is that you do. I don't know, cutting hair, making dentures, selling coffee, making sandwiches, giving people drinks. Well, maybe it is. Maybe I think everything's a clue, a hint of what we want to do. It's just a matter of filtering out all the other bullshit to figure out what it is. Because who knows? Maybe that is exactly what you are supposed to want to be doing, and maybe it's what you're meant to be doing too. I believe in that. I believe we all have a calling and a purpose. So I call it a calling. Because I do believe everything happens for a reason, and I don't believe everything happens for a reason just because it's a cause and effect. Which is a part of it, which is a very big part of it. Every action has a reaction, and that's a fact. You know that. You know that. So start looking at your life and start thinking, okay, if these are all lessons that I was supposed to be learning, and I haven't been grasping them, what was the reason for these things to be happening? Because all the bad things that are happening are just repeats of something else. bad jobs, bad relationships, you're clumsy, you got bad luck. How many times has that same thing happened? Just maybe not in the same exact scenario, maybe not in precise to a T way, but something similar, something relatable. How many times have you been in that same moral quandary, we'll call it, that you just found yourself in a situation, a similar situation over and over again? Now look at that situation and think, well, what could I have done differently so that doesn't happen again? Because think of it like this. Remember that saying, if I knew then what I knew now, things would be so much different, right? Well, people don't realize how powerful of a statement that is. You are smarter than you were when that happened. You're smarter than you were yesterday. You're smarter than you were a month ago. You're smarter than you were fucking 10 years ago. Go back. Use your new smart brain. Look at the situation. What could I have done differently? What can I learn from that experience so that I cannot ever have to go through that again? What can I learn from that experience to enhance it the next time, to make it better? Do I want to avoid that person? Do I want to cut this person out, allow this new person to come in and show what I've learned? Or do I want to bring that old person back? Do I want to be with that person again and show them what I learned? And this way we can complete what we failed to do the last time. You can look at that at anybody, any kind of relationship. It could be a job, it could be friendship, it could be a family member, it could be lots of things. But it's up to you. You don't have to do those things. You can move on to go do some other shit. At least I think, I hope. There's a lot of shit that I don't want to have to redo. A couple things I don't want to have to redo. A couple things I want to redo, though. There's a couple things I would love to redo and have the opportunity to make them better, because I know that the way they ended was not necessarily the way I wanted them to end. I wanted them to end a completely different way. And I would love to fix that in those situations. Do you know what I mean? Because we all have them. We all have those. And I'm not going to we'll call them regrets. Okay? I don't believe in regret. I believe regret is a lesson to be learned. And just like with these past traumas that we've had, or victimizations, are just like regrets. Because that's basically what they are. We regret not doing the thing that we wish that we did. And that's what I mean. And that's ultimately what I mean, is not learning to not regret. To learn and recognize that that thing that you regret was just there. The reason it happened the way it did was because you weren't ready for the situation. You weren't ready for the situation because you didn't know how to respond to it. But now you know. Oh, you don't know? No, it's simple. What's the opposite of what you did? The exact opposite. What was it that you did not do? That's the thing. That's the thing that'll fix everything. Do the opposite of what you would normally do. How about that? And when you learn how to think like that, and when you learn that those victimizations, those regrets that we have, were just learning lessons, stepping blocks to teach us how to crawl and walk and eventually run. When you look at those situations exactly as that, a lesson to push you forward, that's the goal. That's living how you want. That is embodying do as thou wilt. Because you're not holding yourself back to what you think other people want you to be. What you think other people want you to be based on how shitty of a person you were. Because you were never shitty. You were never shitty, and those people were never trying to put you down. They were just jealous. They were jealous that you had what they didn't have the courage to show that they had. But they do have. Everybody's got it. Everybody can do what they want. Everybody can be who they want to be. It's just that they're afraid to do it. And they frown upon the people that exemplify that. It's okay. It's just fear. It's fear, and that's why they always tell you that you're going to fail and you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, because they failed, they think. Because the people around them did the same thing to them when they tried the same thing that you did, that you're doing. So look at it more like they're looking out for you. They have your best interests at heart. They're just not doing it the right way because they don't know how. They never got shown how to be. It's funny when I have these thoughts. no one ever showed them how to be like you. Just like no one ever showed you how to be like you. You got to figure it out on your own. You can't base you on somebody else. You can't worry about what they're going to think if you don't. You're the only one that you need to worry about. Because once you start to exemplify that, once you really show that you know who the fuck you are, then those people who appear to not have your back, you're going to see them turn around really quick. And it's important that you don't hold a grudge. And that's why it's important you don't hold a grudge, because they're not. Yeah, they might come out with their hands out. They might come out like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But you got to understand that they don't owe you that. They don't owe you an apology. Nobody owes you an apology. Be happy that they feel that they need to. But don't hold it over their head. They don't know any better. So, and that's the point. When you look back on people and what they did to you, they didn't know any better. Just like when you did the thing to them, when you did the same fucking thing to them that you're mad at, or you did it to somebody else, and don't fucking play coy. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When you did that same fucking thing to somebody else, are you holding that against you? Did they hold it against you? They are? Oh yeah, just like you're holding that same thing about this other person. Come on, you're perpetuating this shit. Yeah, I know. They should say they're sorry. I get it. So should you. So you got two choices: say you're sorry and forgive them, because when you say you're sorry, they might say they're sorry. If you really need it that bad, if you feel that inclined to bolster your ego by getting them to admit that they were wrong, grow the fuck up. How many times have you been wrong? And you know what the best way to tell them? And they're not gonna like it. If you really want to piss them off, just tell them that you don't hold it against them. I don't hold it against you, and I did this to you. I'll make sure you let them know that you did that thing to them. Don't be an asshole. That's your apology. That's your apology to them. Because it's going to piss them off enough to tell you exactly what they did to you. Maybe. Hopefully. That's the point. It should inspire them. Because you can't hold any grudges. Because you fucked up just as bad as they did. Why? Because you don't like what they did? That makes them worse? Why? Because you wish you could have done that? You're jealous too. You wish you could have been just like them, but you didn't have the courage to do it. Because everybody always told you it was wrong. Right? Right. So think about that for a little bit. Stew on all that. And when you can finally figure out, grow the fuck up, and be an adult, and apologize, and apologize to yourself. Apologize to yourself for being an asshole, because you were the only one that you needed to apologize for. Apologize to. For not thinking. For being pissed off at everybody all the time. For getting yourself all fucking stressed out. You owe yourself a fucking apology. A big one. Because you've been putting yourself through this for far too fucking long. And fuck everybody else. Who gives a shit? They owe you an apology, and no one gives a fuck. Don't even worry about them. Don't even worry about confessing to them. Confess to yourself. I'm a jerk off. I did this. I cheated on you. I hated you. I thought your dinner stunk sometimes, and I didn't say it. Do something like that. Admit it to yourself. No, I wasn't even talking to my wife. I was talking to myself. Because I'm the one who did those things to myself. Just like you, every single thing that you did it to yourself. You owe yourself a big apology. Now, I'm going to wrap this up, and when I'm done, I want you to march your little ass over to the mirror and start writing down that naughty list, going down that naughty list of all the shit that you did, figuring out why you did it and why it went the way that it did, and figuring out how to avoid it in the future. Because you don't have to constantly beat the shit out of yourself over it. It's not a big deal. We all fuck up. Everybody fucks up. Everybody. And it just depends on what you consider a fuck up. Was it a fuck up? Was it really? Or was it fucking a lot of fun? Did you really enjoy it? Ask yourself that. I mean, listen, just because you enjoyed it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Just because somebody tells you it's bad doesn't mean it's bad. I'm not saying go out and do like fucking horrible stuff. But recognize why you want to do the horrible stuff. Recognize why it feels good. Why you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, it's not horrible. It's not bad. It's not good for somebody else. But again, what's good for me is not always going to be good for you. There's nothing wrong with thinking that way. It's perfectly normal. Well, it's absolutely not normal whatsoever, which is why it's perfectly okay to do it. Do you like being normal? Are you normal? I know people don't like to say they're normal, but everybody says that, and everybody does the same shit. So either you want to be normal or you don't want to be normal. I choose not to be normal. So I use the word weird a lot, and people always say, "Yo, don't say it's weird. Don't say it's fucking weird." It's weird because it's not normal, and it's okay. It's awesome. I love being weird. I own it. I don't think you're gonna find someone as weird as me, because most of the time they're fucking fakers. Big fucking phonies. I've seen a lot of weird people, and the weird people that I'm talking about are not weird to me. I think they're fucking cool, normal people. I think they're fucking normal. I think they're regular fucking people that are awesome, that have cool ideas, but a lot of them are fucking fake. A lot of them are phonies. They can only go so far before they fucking, I don't know, before this thing in them just fucking shows up. It's like they want you to fucking abuse them. Just tell them how fucking shitty they are. It's ridiculous. But that's a whole nother story for another time. So when you're done with the mirror, go do as thou will. Go be who you want to be. Go do what you want to do, however the fuck you want to do it. And then when you're doing it, once you're done, once you did it, once you're doing what you will, go love whoever the fuck you want. Love is the law. As long as you love what you're doing, you cannot do anything wrong. Is the way is what it means. That's what that statement means. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. As long as you're loving something that you are willing yourself to love, you're doing exactly what it is you need to do. Very simple. So go do some shit. Go have some fucking fun. I want to go have some fun. I'm gonna figure something out. So I hope that was a good explanation, Tim, and anybody else who was interested in it. If you have any questions, ask me. I like fucking talking. I could talk like this all motherfucking day. That's why I just did a fucking hour and 15-minute video with no edits, and I let myself fuck up. I do whatever the fuck I want, because even if it's wrong, I know how to fix it for the next time. I know how to do better for the next time. I like to tell people, always give me the worst. Tell me what I did the worst. Always, I love negative criticism. I'm unlike everybody else. People think it's a trap. It's not a trap. I love negative criticism. Because unlike you, I'm not going to throw something in your face. I will if you want. I can. But whatever it is, I don't think it's that bad anyway. I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't bother me. That's why I don't do it. If you want me to tell you bad shit about yourself, I will. But I do want people to tell me bad shit about me. I love it. I love hearing bad shit about me. Because, one, I know most of it. Like, people like to argue with me and they'll bring up my past and all this shit. Hey, fuck, I know. I love it. I embrace it. That past, that shitty behavior made me into this fucking really cool motherfucker that I am right now. Because back then, I couldn't do shit like this. I couldn't talk for this long. Hour and 15 goddamn minutes. But I like hearing what I did wrong. Because when I know what I did wrong, I know what I might need to work on. Because everything happens for a reason. And if someone thinks you're doing something wrong, there's a reason they think you're doing it wrong. Maybe they're just jealous, or maybe there is something that you need to fix in yourself. How about that? Does that make sense? I hope so. I think it did for some of you. Depending how many people are watching this. I'm stalling for a reason. I feel like there's something else I need to get out of my head, but I don't know. Yeah, so if all that makes sense, go for it. If there's something that you don't like, tell me. I won't give a shit. I'm not... I could probably give you an explanation as to why it's probably not the way that you think it is. Maybe you think I think the way that I do because of something that you're not aware of. I do this a lot. I get a fucking haircut badly. It's a long story. It's hard when you don't own money. Start looking at the things that people say to you, all the negative stuff that people say to you. Stop getting pissed off at it. The reason you're getting pissed off at it, by the way, is because your ego is flaring. Your ego is flaring. That's not a bad thing either. It's just think of it like a defense mechanism. Just telling you, hey, pay attention to this. Pay attention to what they're saying. That's why you get mad. There's a way to control that too. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort, and it takes being able to look back on yourself and forgiving yourself for the shit that you did, and embracing your past and realizing that if it wasn't for your past mistakes, that you wouldn't be where you are right now. You wouldn't be who you are right now. You wouldn't be the person that you're going to be, because from this day forward, your life is going to change forever, because now you just learned a new perspective on things that you may not have actually been able to verbalize, but you always knew it was there. I'm not telling you anything new. This is all shit that you know. That's why it resonates so well with you. Because believe me, I don't claim to know it all, because I don't know it all. I like to believe I do sometimes, but I still have to prove that. But I do know I know a lot of stuff. And I know a lot of stuff that everybody knows. And I think that's why people get mad at me a lot, because they think that I think I know all this stuff. My mother said that to me yesterday. I said something that I could be wrong. And she goes, oh, that's good. It's good that you can see that you don't know everything. And I said, I never thought I did. I never said I did. I know I don't. Sometimes I try to believe it, but that's only because when you fucking really pay attention to people and how they act, sometimes, yeesh, it's hard to separate where monkey and man begin. That makes sense. I'm not saying that people are stupid. Just they don't know any better. Because they were never taught, because their parents were never taught, and their parents were never taught. And oh, and by the way, when you think back about how bad your parents were, just think of it like this, please, and like just really give up on these fucking grudges and shit, even on your siblings and all this other shit. They only acted the way they acted, did the things that they did to you, because that's what they were taught. They didn't know it was the wrong thing at the time. Just like you, they have regrets. They hold it against themselves every single day. That's why they get mad at you now. That's why you fight still, because you reflect back to them the behavior that they don't like about themselves. And unfortunately, it comes out the wrong way. Sometimes it comes out in ways that we really don't want to remember. But you know what? Remember, that's what they learned. That's what they learned, and that's what they learned from the people who learned what they learned, and back and back and back and back and back. Think of it like this. All of human history went exactly the way that it did. Every single person that died, every person that was born, every bomb that went off, every fucking thing, every TV show that came on, happened exactly the way that it did, that you turned into the person that you are right this second. Now, that being said, all human history happened just for you to be you. But it also happened for me to be me. Which means all human history happened the way that it had to happen, just the way that it did, so that you and me can have this conversation right now. How fucking cool is that? Because there's going to be more than one of you who see this. There's not a lot of people that watch my fucking videos. It's fine. I don't give a fuck. But every single one of you is here because human history. And think, you want to go even further. You want to get real. You want to get real fucking crazy. Think of it like this: the entire fucking cosmos, from the creation, whatever bang or however you want to believe that it was made, happened, and every event since then, since the very, very beginning, if you can even possibly comprehend what that even means, all the way since the beginning of time, happened exactly the way that it did, so that you can see my very handsome face saying the words that you're hearing me say right this fucking second, so that you can go about your business and walk down that path that you see for yourself. It's pretty fucking cool. You want to hear something else cool? The name Derek. I don't like talking about this shit because it's kind of weird. But the name Derek, in Hebrew, it's one word with three meanings. Someone taught me this. I don't know if it's really true, but I like the way it sounds. And actually, I have heard this. I've looked into it. It freaks me out sometimes because I don't like saying it because it sounds weird because people get the wrong impression. They think that I'm thinking something that I'm totally not. Actually, no, I'm not going to fucking finish that phrase. I'll say that for another time. But it reminds me of something real quick. I want to close with this. I was reminded this. Well, this is something I've been like studying for a while about the Bible. I'm not really a big Bible person. I don't believe in the Christian faith. I don't believe that it works the way that they claim it does. It's not. They can believe it if they want. It's just not for me. Just like it's not for you, or maybe it is for you. I don't know. But anyway, what I learned how to do in all of this studying of the esoteric stuff was access a different aspect of my mind that wasn't always there. What it allows me to do is think in metaphors and analogies a lot easier than what I used to. Everyone can do it. You can do it too. That's why a lot of times when I talk to people, it conjures images in your head. Those images are thoughts and feelings and emotions. And really the point of that is that you're supposed to feel those things. You're supposed to allow yourself to live it in your head and allow yourself to feel the emotion. That's a whole other thing too, which I could get into, but not right now. So the way the Bible really should be interpreted, you can read it however you want, but the way I believe that it should be interpreted is not literally like most people think it is, as Jesus being the Son of Man, or the Son of God, and healing the blind and raising the dead from their graves. No. When you look at it from an Jesus himself even said, I speak in parable. It's code for metaphor. He speaks in metaphors. Open a Bible to any passage that Jesus says. This is actually a really cool experiment. Find anything that Jesus had said and read it, but don't think of it literally. Think of it metaphorically. Think of it as an analogy for something going on in your life right now. Think of how you can relate to the story. Does that make sense? How you may not be hunting down one sheep to save your other 99, or to save your one sheep that ran away from the rest of the 99. Think of it in different terms. Think of it in how that story can be a metaphor for something going on for you. Try it. Should be fun. But anyway, again about Jesus, is that he wasn't really raising the dead, in my opinion. He wasn't bringing the dead people back to life, literally. He wasn't teaching the blind how to see, literally. He wasn't teaching the deaf how to hear, literally. What he was doing was, it was metaphorical. He was teaching people how to see the world around them, how to see differently, how to think differently, how to think how to see in a more spiritual way, how to not look at things literally, how to see things as metaphor and allegory and parable, how to read between the lines, how to hear people talking to you and realize that everything happens for a reason, including the things that people say to you. Next time people talk, so you're talking to somebody, actually shut the fuck up and listen to what they're saying. Shut the fuck up. Just allow yourself to shut the fuck up. I know it's hard, it's very difficult. Try to shut the fuck up. Listen to what they're saying, because it's going to evoke feelings and emotions in you. Allow yourself to think about the things that they are saying. You ever read a book and get distracted? Ever watch a movie and get distracted? You start thinking about shit? That's the point. That's what's going to happen. Read that Bible again. Read Jesus' words. Notice how you get, you might take a little bit because the wording is weird, but you might have to read it once or twice to kind of get the picture. But once you do, you'll know you're doing it right when you get distracted. Start paying attention to stuff that distracts you, because it's distracting you for a reason. There's something that you need to be thinking about. I don't know what. It's up to you. Think about what it is and then backtrack it. Backtrack it. Why am I thinking about that? What is the reason? Ask yourself that question. The question why is very important. Why am I thinking this way? Start to think back. Why? Why? What led to this? What led me to this moment? Why do I need to know this right now? You'll find there's a reason. It's something fucking cool. I don't know what it is. It's different for everybody. Where's that going? Jesus. Oh, walking. Teaching the cripple to walk. Okay, this is a cool one too. Wasn't fixing their legs and teaching them how to walk. He was teaching them like babies how to, like I said before, you can't walk before you can crawl. You can't run before you can walk. He was teaching them how to walk down the path, the spiritual path. Now, granted, is the spiritual path for you? I don't know. That's up to you to fucking figure out. But you do have some shit in your life that you want to change. So you don't need to go down a spiritual path. This is like very practical stuff that you can utilize in your life on however you want to live it. Because you want to do what you want, go do it how you want. But think back of why you've been doing things the way that you are and have been, because those are the behaviors that are keeping you from doing the things that you want. I said something to somebody once, and I thought that was very wise. Well, it wasn't once, it was only like a week ago. We are so busy worried about who we don't want to be that we are neglecting who it is that we want to be. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? Start being who you want to be. Stop being afraid of being the person that you're afraid of. Don't worry about them. Well, it's a little bit harder than that. Don't worry about them. It's like telling someone to fucking let go. People that have no fucking idea what that even means. That is a very difficult concept to understand because letting go is not easy. Especially when you don't have a job. Even when you don't have a job or bills or any kind of real stresses. Every normal stress. I have abnormal stresses. But even with what I do, it's very difficult to actually let go of things without having something distract you from it. Which is why a lot of us get stuck into our behaviors, because a lot of our behaviors are just distracting us from letting go. Or maybe they are helping us let go. I don't know. I gotta put some more thought into that. But that's it. Hour and a half. I'm gonna let you go from that. So I hope you found this interesting. I did. I enjoyed talking about it. I like talking about stuff like this because it's smart. I like to talk about smart stuff. I don't like to talk about boring stuff. But it's boring to me. Boring to me might not be boring to you. So remember that. But also remember that not everything that's boring to you is boring to me. Well, that you would tell me is boring. People always do that. I ask them, like, what do you like to do? Oh, I'm boring. Fucking tell me. I just want to know. Because you know what? I might like it too. I like talking about shit. And even if it's boring, I like learning about stuff. It might not be boring the more I know about it. Keep that in mind. So, that's it. I'm going to go smoke another cigarette.